you, Mr. Lynch, and Mr. DeSantis for participating, and other members today as we wind this up. Let me go back and ask Sheriff Demings if there's any points he would like to make, having heard what has transpired and the information we have now about the program. And we'll go to Chief Mina and then Mr. Purdy.
The last comment by Mr. Kamoy, I believe, certainly has merit, in which some discretion should be given to the Secretary to determine where the line is drawn, because if the Secretary has discretion, perhaps the Secretary can use that discretion based on current events and what is happening today, and not what occurred 1, 2, or 3 years prior.
Chief Mina.
Yeah, and just again that we ask that more weight be given in the formula to the 66 million visitors. And also, I don't think it was important to mention that, the Orlando FBI offices run out of Tampa, so the investigations and intelligence received through Orlando are actually attributed to and out of the Tampa office. So we would like that to be looked at as well.
Thank you. Mr. Purdy.
I think one of the issues here is metrics, factors, formulas of risk and threat. And maybe if the Secretary of Homeland Security had more discretion, maybe some of those funds would then be able to be allocated to maybe those Tier 2 cities and regions that maybe need some of these things. Congressman Lynch was spot on the money when he talked about soft targets. Terrorists are looking at targets. We harden stuff with UASI money, and then they look at, okay, nightclubs in Paris, a stadium, nightclubs, restaurants, a concert hall. So they're also looking to see what we're doing, and they're very adaptive. So we spend money to harden something, but we also have to think of an evolving process. And so maybe the Secretary does need more discretion, and Congress can give him that.
Thank you. Any quick comment, Mr. Kamoy?
No, we look forward to continuing to work with the sheriff, with the police chief, with the Orlando community, and the other urban area jurisdictions to secure our communities.
Okay, let me, we always have these hearings, and then people wonder what's coming from it. So I want to thank Mr. Lynch. He's agreed to sign on with myself. Chairman Chaffetz last night agreed to be a co-signer of a letter to the Inspector General. And we're going to ask for 3 things to follow up this hearing. One, we're going to ask for a review of the assessment process. Somewhere we're missing the mark. The assessment hasn't caught up with what the terrorists are doing and hitting us on these soft targets. So somehow we've got to do that. We also have the issue of the discretion for the Secretary. We need to look at that congressionally. We do have, with the amendment that I've offered, which is in the DHS appropriations bill, some look-see from Congress, but we may want to go beyond that. We have the second thing we want the Inspector General to look at is the leftover money. We have money back to 2011. Maybe if you don't use it, you lose it, or it becomes redistributed. When I saw the chart again this morning that they had shown me when they did the final analysis, we've got about 1/3 of the money, over $1 billion, sitting behind. That's not acceptable. These people are after us. We've got to stay ahead of them with every resource possible. It can't be sitting somewhere. So that's the second thing. And then we've seen some wasteful spending. That last report was 2012. We want that updated. People can't waste the money. It has to be effectively expended to target our needs to combat terrorism and get the funds to the local government. So we can't afford not to get it right here. We've got to get it right. There have been multiple Federal failures. This hearing only looks at one of them. I have a letter, and we'll make it part without objection, I hope, to Chairman Goodlatte and also to Chairman Chaffetz to look at the elements that I don't have jurisdiction. Your subcommittee might, but under the judiciary, looking at the FBI and some of the failures there. watch list that failed, our identification of somebody who posed a risk, and months of investigation, and then nothing done to track them. So we've got to get that right. So I'm going to put in the record letter that I submitted on June 29th to Chairman Goodlatte, and also to Chairman, shared with Chairman Chaffetz to follow up. So we look at that. Other items I just wanted to put in, too, in the record. People wonder sometimes what me, Mr. Lynch, and others are doing to combat terrorism. And I got this just this week, a summary of the Homeland Security Committee. These are select counterterrorism bills. Every one of these bills, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, well, there must be 20 of them. I want to put this in the record. These are bills that we have passed, we voted on, to deal with terrorism. Unfortunately, many of them are sitting in the Senate, but we have not neglected trying to change laws in our approach from a legislative standpoint. So without objection, I would like to put that in the record. Thank you. And then finally, this was just released. It says for official use only, and if we could put this in the record or refer to it. This is the 2016 allocation of urban security grant funds and threat levels. This was just released a couple weeks ago. Orlando is not on the list. We've got something wrong that needs to be corrected. So we have some challenges. People are counting on us. Our nation is under attack. Our community is under attack. I can't end the hearing without thanking my 2 local law enforcement guys. They have been there even before that attack took place in Orlando, the worst terrorist massacre since 9/11. They were there. They warned us. The federal government didn't hear it. And now we'll probably get funding. We'll probably make these changes, but 49 people are with us, and their families are suffering. And we've missed the mark in Boston. We've missed it in San Bernardino's and others, so we've got to do a better job. I thank every one of you on behalf of the committee, on behalf of the Congress, for coming, testifying, and working together. I'm very confident we can get it right, meet this challenge. There being no further business before the joint subcommittee hearing today, again, thank you. This hearing is adjourned.